This short video has to do with how to download records from your favorite book vendor. Let's start by going to our catalog management where we import records, and we'll go to the import export. And from here, what we want to do is actually minimize this screen right here and go over to the book vendor access folder. Here you will find a list of various vendors and shortcuts to their particular location where you can log in as a customer or client and download your records. So you can go here, let's say bound to stay bound, and you can open up that link, and then you can go and you can do your login. Once you've logged in, follow their instructions to get to where you can download your MARC record from, and it will allow you to send that record to a folder. So I'm going to minimize this for now, and I'm going to open up this document that we have that helps you understand how to do this. And you should review this before continuing. So I'm going to go back to where we were. I'm going to back up one step. And here it talks about add vendor MARC records underneath this main submenu. You click here, it will open up a PDF file. You can print this file. And this gives you an explanation as to the vendors that are listed. Now, if you have a new vendor that's not listed here, let us know and we will add that vendor for you. And that will help others that may use that. Well, while I'm here, I'm going to talk about most vendors when you purchase your materials. They're usually shelf ready. Some vendors, though, such as Junior Library Guild, let's say, many people use this source, but the source does not provide holdings information, which includes a barcode number. So in this particular case, when you do this and you have a record from them, you're going to do something a little bit different when you start your import of records. And that's further down here in the explanation that talks about doing just that. And we're talking here that if you have a situation where a record is coming from Junior Library Guild, and the import has barcodes supplied, or in the case of Junior Library Guild, this would get unchecked because there are no barcodes being supplied. And what will occur is once you uncheck that, the G4 program will present the next free available barcode number. And you can start here with that number, and you can fill in the data right here as you see it, and then start your import. And as the records are added, the holdings will be automatically added, and the barcode will increment each time for a new record. And that's how this works. So let's go back to where we were now. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. I can just keep it down on my tool tray. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to import records, and I'm going to browse. Now, we made a suggestion that in your My Documents folder, you add another folder for your MARC records. Now, this dialog box here was what was being used years ago, and many of you still have some standalone systems out there where this applies. So this is the harder way to do things. You have to download a file, you have to move that file to a location on your C drive, and then once you have it there in a folder, you can access it through the Browse button. But for those of you that are going directly to a vendor source and downloading, you can ignore this and just click OK. Now, we had suggested that you create a folder in your documents folder as new data. So I'm going to assume that I've gone ahead and I've downloaded this record. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and double click it. And by double clicking it, it's going to place it directly in here. And I can place it into whichever collection I want to put it into. I'm going to leave it right here. So what do we do from here? Well, we always suggest that you tag these records. Why do you tag them? So you know what records were simply added most recently. Now, if you're going to use tagging, you should have no other records tagged within your main collection when you're doing import. Always choose Add New. These other choices would allow you to just simply merge materials together. The difficulty with that is, can you trust your ISBN number that's currently in your current records versus the record that's coming in? Because that's how it works. It matches up that way. We have found that in the past that book covers have been changed, the ISBN numbers aren't necessarily accurate. So we always say to use Add New. So what you're going to get is a MARC record, a title for every book, individually entered. Holdings format will always be standard 852. When you have items that are purchased as shelf ready, it implies that the import has barcode numbers supplied by the vendor or other source. Then all you have to do is go in here and pick. You can change the acquisition date, otherwise it defaults to today's date that you're doing this. Circulation code, this is for general circulation, those books that are going to come in and be checked out to students and teachers or patrons. Normally will have a zero cert code. If you're ordering books, and a lot of those books might be some sort of an encyclopedia or could be dictionaries that won't be circulated, what you should do is have that from your vendor as a separate file. Then you can import that directly and you can pick the code that best relates to that. For instance, if we had Webster dictionaries, we would say 03 reference only. And the assumption is that these would not be circulated. So you pick the 0, select it, and then go in and set your other codes. G4 is going to remind you that you need these codes filled in. Now, the cost of the book, you can add that cost if you want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I would begin the process of importing. So what you do is you go here and you can start the import. What will occur is you will see the items listed down here in this field area. If your barcodes that are being imported are duplicates, it's going to add the MARC record without the holdings, going to make a notation that this barcode is duplicated. That's another reason why we say tag the records. That way there you can easily delete them, because it often happens where folks pre-assign numbers and they don't use the system within G4 to allocate those numbers to Bound to State Bound, Follett, or Brodart, or somebody else where you're adding purchase orders with these folks. If you use the system within G4, then replication or duplication will not occur because those areas and those blocks and numbers get reserved and they can only be used by those vendors. So then what you do is you just simply go ahead and do your start import. If for some reason you start seeing things that are not going the way you want, go back up here to process immediately and click on cancel. And that's how it works. Now, I think this file probably has been imported before, so I'm going to go ahead and start it. And there we go. And this is what you should see for a good import. Tells you that 8 records were processed. Up here, the counter also suggests 8. These are the records that were added. There's your title. And that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And again, if you have a source that is not within this folder back here that we were looking at a little while ago, if they're not in here, let us know and we will add that for you immediately so you can use this simple way of importing records. Again, give us a call or drop us an email and we'll get right with you to assist you with your materials. So this concludes our video. And thank you for your time.